one of the things that I was gonna ask is because when you was doing your van life, then you met little best friend, didn't you? And have you called him Buddy? Is he there?
He's here now, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was wondering, number one, before, because I know Sarah was working a lot, so she wasn't able to travel with you and stuff. So
Mhm.
did van life ever get lonely? And kind of tell us a story about how you met Buddy as well.
Oh, it's a romance story. I met
Yeah,
this little fella.
romance.
He's fast asleep on the sofa next to me. I won't wake him up. But
He's a dog, by the way, guys, just so you know.
yeah, my dog Buddy. Oh, come here, bud. We'll have to show you off.
Go
Come here,
on.
son. Come here. I'll just grab him. Here he is. Say hello.
Ah, you can tell he's a daddy's boy.
Yeah, proper daddy's boy. He's my best mate. He's like, I always laugh with Sarah. Good boy. He's like a big baby. He's like my baby, but he's also my best friend, which is a complete different character role.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's also like the wise old man, which is another complete different character role. Like I look after him, and that like serves me of like giving me responsibility. So he's my child in that sense. But then he's like my best friend because it's just like we have fun together and it's like very playful. But then there's just something about animals. There's just got a presence. They're not getting overwhelmed by that inner monologue that we all experience. And when there's something shit going on that I'm worried about, I can look at Buddy and like, he doesn't have a clue. He's not sat worried about it. And it's just so refreshing to like be connected with an animal. And that's I think that's what the beauty of having those relationships with animals is. It's a reflection of the stillness, the oneness energy without like a human narrative over the top of it. So I met Buddy in Portugal. I was driving through Portugal, and there's just dogs everywhere. What they do is rather than cage them up, they bring them in, they neuter them, give them a rabies jab, and then like set them back free on the streets and they feed from the bins and that sort of thing. It's quite strange actually, because you just wouldn't see it over here in the UK, like a stray dog. It's like you wouldn't see it, but in Portugal, they're like on an evening, they gather under the streetlights around the bins and all different shapes and sizes, and it's like, you know, them paintings of like dogs sat round a table playing cards, and they're all like different breeds of dogs. That's what it's like. So I kept on meeting dogs, and I even bought like dog food because I was just meeting that many dogs, and a dog bowl, and I was giving them food and water while I was sat at the van, and I'd have like a dog for a day or for a few hours wherever I parked. There's always a dog. And then Buddy just jumped out in the road, and I nearly ran him over, and there was just a connection, and I just took him straight to the vets to see if he didn't have a collar, didn't have a chip. So I took him to the vets to see if he had a chip, and that was it. We were best mates ever since. Got him cleaned up, and
It's funny because he's so sweet, and you can just tell, like literally I saw you posted when you very first got him, and it was like 2 days he was already snugging up to you on the bed and stuff, like. But it's amazing how you can meet so many, but your soul knows when it's that one you was meant to be meeting on your journey. And it's funny because we come into this world alone and we go away alone, so you can almost feel like you come here and you've got to do this all on your own. But what you forget is that you are given your soul family, like, to come and meet you in places of your journey, and souls that you knew before coming here are gonna be meeting you here and there, and they're gonna be walking your journey with you from time to time. And you can tell that, like, Buddy and Sarah, like, are just your soul fam that you've just got, like, ride or die with kind of thing. And it's just so, it almost gives you hope for the future. No matter what, you just always know that there'll be, no matter how lonely you feel now, if you don't feel like you've met that, like, you know, your soul family yet, just know that they're going to be coming. And especially when you do the healing on yourself, you start to find them a lot more, don't you? But it's nice to know that you're not really on your own, and anyone who's listening who might feel like they've not really got people they vibe with yet, or, you know, you're doing this spiritual journey and everyone else thinks you're crazy or whatever, just know that like your soul family are out there and they are coming, and you will find them along the way, even if it's in a pet.
I think it's one of the most important things to recognize from that is that you will find them as long as you are willing to put yourself out there. Because a lot of us feel like we don't have those people that are on the same frequency as us, or we feel like lonely, or daren't speak our mind in case we're going to get judged because people are going to think we're weird. But actually just breaking through that initial fear and speaking your mind, regardless of made up negative outcome, showing yourself for who you truly are, that's what's going to invite people who are really on your frequency into your life. It's that idea of serendipity. Like the more things you post about ideas, especially talking in like in this world we live in now with technology and social media, and seeing as though we're all actually closed off and there's nowhere to go to be physically sociable, but just posting ideas of things that you think are interesting and just voicing your opinion on your interests or your art or your passions or whatever, just getting it out there is putting, every time you do a post, is putting a signpost in the ground saying, this is me, this is who I really am, this is what I truly like, this way for more. And the more signposts you put in the ground, the more people are likely to see said signposts, and the more people you're likely to attract the right kind of people who are going to be good for you and going to be supportive and be interested in and inspiring for you. The more people like that you invite into your own life.
It's about like just living your truth and being true to yourself, and just not giving a shit what anyone thinks, because with posting, even with our music, Brad, like you sometimes think, oh, you know, will people like this song? What do people want to listen to? What should I be performing for them? What should I be writing for them? What should I be posting that people would enjoy right now? And you just get lost in the crowd doing that, and you might get the odd people like following you, but then when you be your true self, or when you just like post something else, like it just comes and goes so quick. Like if you want to connect and find real people who want to support you, and you know, who you can really like share ideas with and like build a real nice amazing future with, an amazing world with, you want people who are true to themselves. And when you're true to yourself, you can find like the same connection and the same match. You just need to be honest, because then you get real people, don't you? You just get the honesty back almost. And you'd rather have a really, really good mate who'll always tell you the truth than 10 mates who don't, like, they always lie to you and you can't trust them, you can't rely on them, like that kind of thing.
Going back to musicianship, it's that question of, what am I doing this for? Because we end up attaching the identity to ourselves, like, oh, I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter, but then that becomes our identity. And then like, okay, so how do I quantify success in that sense? Well, it's appealing to the masses, and then we try and like fit who we are and what we've got to say. We chip all the like rough edges off it to make it as smooth and digestible as possible to as many people as possible. And then what we actually end up with is something that's not amazing. It's just like average because it's been made to fit everyone. Whereas if we just take a step back and go, I'm creating because it's a part of my soul to need to create, to want to create, and I'm doing this for me. And if it resonates with someone else, then God bless them. But this is not for anyone else. This is just my process that I do. And been through that for years. I think with being an entertainer for years, like my main income for like 10 years after school was gigging. And although it took me on some amazing adventures, like I say, to holiday destinations, paradise islands, up scaling mountains, skiing every day, like I've lived an amazing adventure through being able to utilize a skill, which was singing, and get a good financial income from very few hours working. In that sense, like eternally grateful. But in another sense, it was actually, music is like my soul, and I'm selling that to just keep people entertained, playing Wonderwall while everyone's smashed in the pub.
Wonderwall.
And it just got, yeah. I still love it, man.
You're amazing at it, so.
Well, thank you. I've been working on that one.
I know.
But yeah, being able to just go, hey, do you know what? I need to make music for me. And when all the pubs closed and all the gigs dried up, I started busking again. And it was so refreshing because I was just playing my own music and just getting out and just standing in the street, like being being able to humble myself, just put a hat on the ground and just like, I'm singing. If you want to share some of your resources for some of my resources, and that's amazing. If not, then I'm just here to connect. The amount of people that I connected with, or do connect with when I'm busking, is amazing. The fact that I'm just able to go out there and sing my own music and just make music that I'm passionate about is another thing. The third is like that feeling of doing the uncomfortable thing. Like, it's nervy to go and set up, like just start singing in the street of whatever people are going to think, or like, just, am I troubling anyone? Like, am I in anyone's way? Is anyone's shop going to complain or anything like that? And just going, I'm like, I'm here to spread some sunshine. If like someone doesn't like it, like, come over and let me know and we can sort something out. And then it turned out to be, actually, I make more money busking than I do playing the gigs that I don't want to do.
Right.
So it was like, it ended up being this is a great thing where I'm just in control of my music now. So it's taken me in a different direction completely.
Another thing that I've found with the whole being an artist thing is like keeping up appearances on social media, and even just posting on social media, because there's a good quote in this book called The Kybalion, and it's basically like a god, I think it was Hermes, an Egyptian god, wrote this book called The Kybalion, and it's about the 7 different laws of the universe. There might be more than 7, I'm pretty sure there's just 7 though. And one of the laws is talking about how it would be foolish to like learn about spirituality and then just literally get so engulfed in there that you're not living life. And it says like a wise man has 1 foot in each realm, 1 foot in spirituality and 1 foot on earth, because we're here, we have to earn money, we have to play this game of living in the physical earth. So you need to just be staying like and doing both. And so with the job of being an artist, you do have to keep up an online presence because you're releasing music on there and stuff like that. But it can be hard because when you do become less excited about social media, when you're not bothered about like being that type of person who's like always keeping up appearances and like getting all the likes and stuff, it can be hard to want to do socials. And you are doing amazing with your posts at the minute, and your posts, they don't seem to be to get likes, they don't seem to be to try and like flatter yourself. Your posts, you write really amazing things with them, and people can go to your Instagram and they can get like daily guidance or advice. And I remember I went to an ashram a few years ago, and that's like a Hindu type place you can stay, and you can get up and they read the Bhagavad Gita, I think, to you, and it got these little stories in every day. And I remember I would go in the morning, they'd read a little bit, and this particular story is about being patient. So then I'd be like, right, today I'm going to practice patience. I saw it as like what the universe is telling me to work on today. And your Instagram's the same. People can go there and you can see this post, and and it's got so much like wisdom just in each post, and people can read a post and go, right, this is what I'm going to work on today. And you've really got it nailed, and you've got the genuine audience who want to, like, because I've read the comments as well, it's not like people are just like, oh, nice picture. They're reading your posts, they're getting value from it, and they're saying thanks so much, I really needed that and stuff. So you've just like nailed it and got it right. And do you enjoy your social like media? Do you enjoy doing it? Do you find yourself just doing it to help other people, or like how you kind of got to where you are with your socials now?
It's definitely it's definitely waters that need navigating, because there is the egotistical mind getting caught up in the likes, which, by the way, is always a negative force. No one, whenever I've had a post that's done particularly well, it's never filled me with joy. But if I've done a post that's done worse than I expected, then it has triggered negative experiences. So I think that's like really important to, like, from the start, is numbers. Although we tend to like look at numbers of how many likes something's getting and think like, oh, I wish it could reach further, or like, I wish I was getting more response from people. Like, when you do actually get that response, you don't get like a hit of feel goods. It just works the other way. Like, when you do a post that's less well, you get negative emotion from it. So there's separating yourself from outcome. That's definitely important to take in consideration. The next is like being honest and like just expressing yourself, expressing your own journey. I think a lot of the stuff that I write about is stuff that I am facing and realizing and learning now. I'm never coming from a place of like, I'm the master at this stuff. And I think anyone who does, I mean, I suppose some people have like can come from that place, but like for us mere mortals, like you can't ever be a guru. You've just got to be a guide. And I'm walking down this path. And if there are other people who also want to follow this path, then here are the steps that I've taken. And it's that sort of thing. And being able to, I think what a massive part of just gaining, because I'm not very consistent. I go through times of posting and then I have to put it down for one reason or another, or I just run out of steam. And when negative emotion does arise, what a lot of the time I have to say to myself is, how selfish of me to let my own insecurities stop me from speaking my truth that may just make one person's day. One person. If I post something and it changes a moment for one person, which has a butterfly effect on the rest of the day, you don't know how far that butterfly effect is going to go on the rest of the week, on the rest of the month, the year, the life. Like, that's obviously one post. You could say reading one post is not going to change someone's life. But if it drops a little bit of insight for someone and it sends them down a path where they all of a sudden they've bought a book that changes their life because I planted the seed with a paragraph that I'd wrote, and then they're seeing the book on the shelf in a coffee shop that they would otherwise not have picked up. If you open that book, it changes their life. Like, got to put your positivity out there. So yeah, social media is it's funny to navigate because it's essential for business nowadays. Like you say, it's one thing being spiritual self, but you've also got to play the game of the reality that we live in. And I think that's a big thing with a lot of artists. When I think of a lot of my musician friends, they have had a real trouble with social media because they think it's a negative force, like they're having to sell themselves. And it's not that personal. It's just like, you don't have to sell yourself, you just have to be yourself. And that's all it is. It's like promotion, but if you look at it as being promotion, then it will always be something that you have to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at it as being a place of self-expression, then it's something that you get to do. And that simple change in language, that simple change in perspective is like such a massive change in the dynamic of using it.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And I seem to find I have had a lot of struggles with like perfectionism and stuff, and just feeling like something's not good enough to share music, like posts and things like that. And also kind of just thinking like, why would someone want to see what I'm doing? Like, you know, stories and stuff. People actually do really love stories and they love watching what people are doing. But you always just think about yourself, like, why would someone like want to see what, like, why would they be interested in what I'm doing and stuff? And it comes back to, again, like this self-worth, because you just can't help but like compare yourself to people, or just feel like, yeah, just like, why would people want to be doing your kind of thing? But the more that you can be true to yourself, the more that you can just go, this is me, and you know, it might be scary, but I'm just going to go and just be myself in front of an audience. You probably end up getting more love, because they can sense the energy of you being honest and you being a genuine person. And then you start to realize, I mean, it's not really good to get the validation of your self-worth from other people and from your posts and stuff, but you can start to kind of feel like it's okay to be your true self. You're not actually been shot down like you thought you might be. And then it's almost just getting out and just doing it no matter what. And then you realize that it's actually an easier task than you thought. This is kind of me just assessing my own life and speaking to you at the same time.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we're hardwired, like we are hardwired. It's a survival mechanism to look for the negativity. So if you have a post that does really well, gets the likes you're expecting and loads of positive comments, and then someone leaves a little nasty comment or a little negative comment, that can taint the whole thing for us. And instead of like looking at the abundance of positivity that something that we've done has created, we focus in on the poison berry, because that's what we're designed to do as hunter-gatherers. It's all well and good finding a bush full of berries, but you've got to look out for the poison ones.
Yeah.
And that's what we're designed to do. So being able to recognize that that's how we react by design means that our conscious self can override that default programming. And in terms of social media and putting yourself out there, it's like it feels like a personal attack if something gets ignored, or it doesn't get the response that we were after. And actually it's not at all, because whoever did respond, it resonated with them. And it's just about focusing on that. Like I made a imprint on the 2 people that liked this post. It made an imprint on their day, and that's what matters. And celebrate that, because once you can start celebrating that, you start giving yourself a positive reinforcement with the putting the positive content out there, which allows you to put more positive content out there, which enables you to affect more people's lives and reach more people. And it's busting through that place of feeling stuck of the perfectionist is something that I've dealt with myself and still occurs for me in places. And nothing's perfect, everything's a journey, and people love to see the progress. People love to see the journey. So yeah, it's not something that you should feel like you have to do. And if that's your relationship with it, then my advice to anyone listening would be to put it down for a bit. That's what I do with myself. Whenever I feel like I have to do it, then it's time for me to put it down. I won't post for a week. I'll even delete the app off my phone for a week and reset, reevaluate. This is something that I get to do, and then just share.
I think that I've definitely ended up doing that. I've gone silent for like probably a year or 2, but I also started like hardcore spiritual like healing and stuff at that time. So I found myself just, even with my music, I kind of just stopped everything. And I never wanted to give it up, and I never did give up my music, but I was always just like, these years now, they're just me sorting myself out, because I want to come to my music in a new way, and I want to like heal myself. I want to like introduce sound healing in my music. I want to teach people in my music. I want it to be more than just a pop song. And so I felt like I needed to develop myself and then just try again, but with being able to do more than just entertain someone for a few minutes. And just before saying that, while you were talking, something that came to me was a lot of people, like there's talk about this new earth coming, and how like the earth's shifting a frequency, and it's going to be like, what are you bringing to the table? We're all going to be like more spiritual, more connected. We've all got a role, we've all got a purpose. But a lot of people, they don't know what their purpose is yet. Like they're not sure how they fit in or what they're bringing to the table and stuff. And it's still a part of their journey to learn that. But when you're talking about these small acts that make the big difference, like my mum, for example, she's not sure she has a purpose, but every single day she'll like do these small acts for people. She'll go and like take my grandma and granddad a coffee and newspaper every morning. She'll like drop the neighbours some milk. She does these little small things, yeah. Her purpose might just be bringing joy on a day-to-day level for people, and that's a real big purpose in life. Like, you don't have to have a purpose of being a superstar on a stage and being able to talk to a million people in one go. For some people, it's working on a face-to-face basis with people, and you couldn't have a bigger purpose than that. It's so important. Those people, like, you lift everyone up. You're the center of the family. You're the one person that people can go to, and you make people feel better. And so, if anyone's listening and they're not sure where they fit in yet, or they're not found their purpose yet, or you just feel like, is that a good enough purpose? Or, that's a good place to start, at least, is to try and do these little things, or say a nice word to someone, and try and be that little bit of light that you can, and just brighten people's day up. And that is all that you need to be. I think
100%. I love that. I think it might be a Zen proverb or a Buddhist proverb of, with one candle you can light 1,000 candles without ever detracting from the original candle. It doesn't cost the original candle anything. And in fact, it's part of our nature, that connection with people. Like, it's such a natural thing to want. It energizes us, it boosts us and helps us grow. And yeah, for purpose is so personal. Success is so personal, and I really invite people to look within themselves and really have an honest conversation with themselves of like, what is it that you actually want, not what